This person has a question about my stance on a border wall. They're asking, explain to me why you don't want a border wall. It's baffling and concise, the easy argument that folks will get around it anyway. Give me something real. In other words, I think what he's saying is, and forgive me, I don't want to put words in your mouth, commenter, but I think what you're trying to say there at the end is, don't give me the excuse that people from Mexico or south of the border will figure out a way to get around the wall or over the wall or under the wall anyway. That's not an excuse not to have a border wall, I think is what you're saying, and that you want something real. Hey, listen, we're going to put that one to the side right now because that is actually an argument that can be made that they get around it anyway, but fine, we'll put it to the side. You want something real. Okay. I spent 26 years working in the landscape industry in the Chicagoland area. And in that period of time, I had I'm going to call it the honor and privilege of working with literally thousands of undocumented immigrants, predominantly from Mexico, predominantly from the state of Michoacan. I worked for numerous large landscape companies that had hundreds of employees each, that were almost always undocumented immigrants. Anybody that was out in the field busting their ass in a labor form usually was an undocumented immigrant. And so I got a chance to not only manage, but get to know a large number of undocumented immigrants. And I will tell you that from my personal perspective, these are some of the best human beings I've ever met in my entire life. They possess the qualities I want in people in my society, right? They're hardworking. They're extremely family-oriented. Family means everything to them. Oddly enough, this is not something that I tout on, but it's something that the conservatives always seem to overlook. They are extraordinarily religious, right? So family-oriented, hardworking, religious. They would actually make tremendous allies with the Republican Party if the Republican Party could just get over their hatred of the fact that these are brown people. And that's what it is. But getting back to my experiences and why I don't want a border wall. These people didn't come here to sell my family drugs. These people didn't come here to rape my children. These people didn't come here to rob me. They came here because they couldn't get work where they were, and they were trying to provide for their families. They were doing everything that we say people should do, right? Get out there, bust your ass, provide for your family. Here they are doing it, putting themselves at legal risk in the process of doing it and doing jobs that Americans don't want to do. I know, once again, I was in the landscape industry. We couldn't get American-born workers to do these jobs, and not cheap labor. We're talking union positions with good pay and benefits. Could not get American-born workers to do it, but the Mexican immigrants would. And one of the things that experience working with those people made me realize is that these are not, pick a slur from the olden days, the beaners, the wetbacks, the whatever. These aren't what I've been taught that they are. These are the hardworking people that my family told me I needed to grow up to be like. And it made me realize that if the roles were reversed, and the United States of America didn't have any work for me. My wife just texted me something. Didn't have any work for me to be able to provide for my family. But Mexico did have ample opportunity. I'd cross the border illegally too. Especially if it took as long to get into Mexico legally as it does to get in the United States of America. Getting to know these people, I got to realize that some of these people had been waiting, trying to do it legally while illegally in the country for 15 and 20 years. So my question to you is this. As a father, are you going to wait 15 to 20 years to put food on your children's table? No, I wouldn't, man. And that's why I don't have a problem with people crossing our border illegally. I don't. I don't fucking care that people cross our border illegally. Do I want more people to sign the guest book on the way in? Yeah. But when I put myself in that position, there isn't a fucking border or law or anything in place that would stop me from doing it. And so when I view the people coming across the border through my own experiences, I don't want a wall. I don't want to stop them from coming into the border. I want them to be able to come into this country and have the same opportunities that I have. Especially if the only thing they're looking to do is put a fucking roof over their family's head and food on their table. Furthermore, I find it extraordinarily hypocritical and spotlights the racism of the MAGA party, the Republican Party, that all we ever talk about is a border wall on the southern border, but we never talk about one on the northern border. Are you aware that our border, our land border with Canada, is the largest unmilitarized border anywhere in the world? The longest unmilitarized border anywhere in the world? Nobody gives a shit about the northern border. Why? It's simple. Those people are predominantly white. And the people coming up from the south are predominantly brown. That's what it is. That's all it is. We're not rounding up Canadians in the country illegally with ICE. We're not rounding up German immigrants or Polish immigrants or any other immigrant from the continent of Europe in these ICE raids. No, we're rounding up brown people. And that border wall represents all of that racism that I don't want anything to do with. That border wall says, you stay out because you're not welcome. And I know some people are going to come in here and go, Tom, you have a fence around your backyard. Private land ownership and a nation of immigrants is a completely different thing. So just stop with that bullshit already, to anybody that's already typing in the comment section. So because we drew an invisible line on a map at some point in time eons ago, somebody's going to have to watch their kids starve because there aren't opportunities in his country? That's not the American way. That's not what it says on the Statue of Liberty. That's not what got my grandfather into this country from Sicily. Now, I'll never be in favor of a border wall. Ever. It's a waste of money to me. It's inhumane to me. And it represents everything wrong with not only America, but society as a whole. You're brown, you stay there. Nah, fuck a border wall.